Hello and welcome to Newsline. I'm Hoàng Anh.
And I'm Phương Anh. And in the next 30 minutes, we'll bring you the most important updates. Stay tuned and hear the headlines of this hour. State President highlights transformation for sustainability.
And later on, major projects launch for EPIC 2027.
Hanoi pushes public spaces renovation.
Now first, let's take a look at the latest developments from State President Leung Keung's visit to the United States.
Now, on September 23rd, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, State President Leung Keung joined nearly 150 world leaders at the opening of the high-level general debate of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly UNGA 80. In his keynote speech, he emphasized the importance of upholding peace and transforming a sustainable future.
State President Luong Quang affirmed that for 80 years, the Union has embodied humanity's shared aspiration for peace, cooperation, and development, grounded in universal values of human rights, national independence, equality, democracy, and social progress. Amid global upheavals and unprecedented challenges, he stressed the need for the international community to uphold multilateralism and the international rules-based system, with the UN playing a central role.
As a nation that endured immense wartime suffering, Vietnam deeply understands the value of peace. Conciliation and compassion, woven into our identity, helped us heal, set aside the past, and look to the future as a reliable partner to all countries. Peace is both the goal and the precondition for a stable, just, democratic, and prosperous future. Upholding the value of peace, transforming strongly for a sustainable future is Vietnam's sincere message on the UN's 80th anniversary.
The state president urged countries to honor peace not only in words but through concrete actions, building trust, fostering dialogue, respecting differences, and promoting friendship. He called for bold transformation to secure sustainable development, stressing that global governance, especially the UN and international financial institutions, must adapt to become fairer, more transparent, and more effective, anchored in digital and green transformation.
In the digital age, transformation in society is rapid and profound, while challenges such as poverty, inequality, unemployment, and crises of trust are rising. Social change must be people-centered, focusing on poverty eradication, decent jobs, fairness, and inclusion. With firm commitment as a trusted partner and responsible member, Vietnam will join all nations in overcoming challenges and driving transformation toward a peaceful, stable, and sustainable world that brings prosperity to all.
On behalf of the state and people of Vietnam, State President Luong Quang thanked the UN, member states, and partners for their support in the country's development journey, and welcomed world leaders to Hanoi this October for the signing ceremony of the UN Convention Against Cybercrime.
Now, at the United Nations, State President Leung Keung continued his series of bilateral meetings with world leaders in talks with Bulgarian Prime Minister and Portuguese President. The Vietnamese leader highlighted long-standing ties and called for closer cooperation to mark key diplomatic anniversaries.
At the United Nations, during a meeting with Bulgarian Prime Minister Rosen Ziliakov, State President Leung Keung affirmed that Bulgaria was among the very first countries in the world to establish diplomatic relations with Vietnam. The Vietnamese leader proposed that the two sides work closely together to mark the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties, thereby elevating the partnership. Bulgarian Prime Minister, for his part, affirmed that Vietnam is Bulgaria's top priority partner in Southeast Asia. The Bulgarian Prime Minister also voiced the wish to boost cooperation in labor, agriculture, healthcare, education, and cultural exchanges, while enhancing coordination at multilateral forums.
Meeting Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, State President Lung Kung praised the positive progress in bilateral ties and proposed preparations for the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations. The Portuguese leader welcomed Vietnam's opening of an embassy in Portugal and thanks Vietnam for facilitating Portugal's plan to establish its embassy in Hanoi. The Portuguese president stressed that this would help enhance connections between governments, localities, businesses, and people, while promoting cooperation across all fields.
During talk with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Wednesday night, Vietnam time, State President Lương Cường reaffirmed that Vietnam regards the United States as an important strategic partner. He expressed Vietnam's desire to further deepen the comprehensive strategic partnership in a practical and substantive way, grounded in respect for each other's independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political system, for peace, stability, and shared prosperity. For his part, Secretary of State Rubio stressed that the Trump administration views Vietnam as one of Washington's top priority partners in the region. He underscored the need not only to maintain but also to advance comprehensive strategic partnership. Stay closer cooperation will bring more opportunities for both nations. During a roundtable with U.S. enterprises, State President Lương Cường called on the U.S. business community to seize opportunities, expand their presence, and invest in Vietnam on a more expansive scale. The Vietnamese leader emphasized that such efforts would help usher in a new era of promising and sustainable cooperation.
Leaders and experts from leading global corporations, including Amazon, Apple, Amway, Boeing, and Meta, participated in the roundtable during the state president's visit to the United States. These corporations expressed confidence that, with its outlined strategies and orientations, Vietnam will become an attractive destination for international investors. State President Lương Cường highlighted Vietnam's achievements and development goals, stressing that the country has carried out strong institutional reforms, as well as revised and finalized key laws to ensure a transparent and open business environment. The state leader affirmed that throughout the 30 years of Vietnam-US relations, economic, trade and investment cooperation has always been a central pillar, urging businesses to build on the momentum of bilateral trade, which reached nearly $140 billion last year. State President Lương Cường emphasized that an effective presence and successful operations in Vietnam are clear evidence of trust and the vast potential for cooperation between the two sides. The state leader affirmed that Vietnam is committed to creating the most favorable conditions for investors to choose Vietnam as a long-term destination.
You know, I've heard that there are exciting developments are underway to prepare for an upcoming global event. So what's the updates, Hai Anh?
Well, Phương Anh, in the Phu Quoc special zone, the An Giang Provincial People's Committee recently held a groundbreaking ceremony to launch 10 major projects in anticipation of APEC 2027. The event was attended by Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Chí Dũng and key governments and provincial leaders.
The 10 projects incur a total investment of more than $348 million. There are key initiatives aimed at urban development, upgrading transport infrastructure, boosting trade and tourism, and attracting both domestic and foreign investment.
In line with the party and state's policy on preparation for the APEC 2027 Economic Leaders Week, we have focused on investment and project implementation. The projects we launched today are first and foremost to serve APEC 2027. Secondly, they aim to complete and modernize Phu Quoc's infrastructure in a comprehensive way.
All ministries, agencies, and especially An Giang Province must give their utmost focus upholding the spirit of what we say we do, what we commit we deliver. We must strive to complete the projects 3 to 6 months ahead of schedule, ensuring the highest quality and creating the most beautiful and impressive image of Vietnam and Phu Quoc in the eyes of international friends.
This milestone event not only affirms Anzang's rising position as a strategic hub domestically and regionally, but also promises to improve livelihoods, create jobs, and enhance the quality of life for local communities.
Coming up next on Newsline. Hanoi pushes public spaces renovation.
And also, Hanoi strengthens flood prevention. Now, you know, Hanoi is undergoing for some exciting transformations, and the efforts have been ramping up even further this year.
Yes, exactly. Now, since early 2025, the city has intensified its effort to improve public spaces. Notably, the Shark Jaw building has been demolished. The Tolik River cleanup project has officially begun. Now, let's hear more about these changes from our reporter, Hainam.
The removal of the Shark Jaw building has significantly expanded the Đông Kinh Nghĩa Thục Square to nearly 1.4 hectares, adding a whole spacious pedestrian zone to the heart of Hanoi.
Right here at Đông Kinh Nghĩa Thục Square, where the Hanoi Old Quarter meets the Hoan Kiem Lake, change is all around. What used to be a crowded concrete corner has been opened into a cleaner open public space. Stone benches, pedestrian-friendly paths, new lights and trees, all the touches that make this area more inviting. A quick stopover is transforming into a true community spot. What a place to enjoy a sip of coffee and feel the rhythm of the city.
It's only phase 1, but after seeing it on TV, I had to come. The square is really beautiful and open.
I've lived here since 1957. The old building was part of Hanoi's memories, but the renovation is improving this area.
You can have lots of activities here. Maybe you can have parades, maybe concerts you can have here, things to celebrate as well. Yeah, I think it's very important to have open space.
Several other buildings around the square have also been revamped or restored to their original designs, bringing back the capital city's urban memories. Another project drawing wide attention is the cleanup of the Tolik River. With clean water recently replenished from the West Lake, the Tolik has turned green again, and life has been visible in what was once infamously called Hanoi's Dead River.
The river used to be murky and smelly. Now it's clear with fish swimming freely. It's exciting to see.
As part of the cleanup efforts, Hanoi is also carrying out water regulation works on the Tolik River, including one of the 3 weirs now nearing completion. Beyond their main function of retaining water, these projects also aim to enhance the river's landscape and create additional public spaces.
Now, exciting developments are underway to transform public spaces, with some major renovation projects underway in the heart of the city.
That is right. And the following phase, one of the Đông Kinh Nghĩa Thục Square renovation, phase 2, will involve rebuilding street, repaving with stone, and creating a 3-level underground space for cultural, commerce, and parking. Additionally, Hanoi is launching 2 major projects in earlier October, a 2.14-hectare square park near Hoan Kiem Lake and a 14-kilometer riverside park along the Tolik River. These projects aim to create green communities spaces while enhancing the city's ecological and cultural offering.
And these developments have certainly caught the attention of the public both here and abroad. To provide more insight into these changes, we're joined by Dr. Do Kien, Senior Planner at 8 Japan Engineering Consultants in Tokyo and a leading expert on Vietnam public spaces. Dr. Do Kien, well, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. So what's your assessment of recent changes in Hanoi's landscape and public spaces?
Thank you for the interview. You know, over the past years, Hanoi has really stepped up its game in renovating landscapes and expanding public spaces and adding greenery. And two projects I think really stand out: Dongkinyetuk Square and the revival of the Tolik River. So these spaces aren't just urban spaces, they are symbol of the city, right? As an expert in public spaces, I'm truly excited that the city has actually put it onto its agenda. And that said, Dongkinyetuk Square after phase 1 triggered strong public reaction. Mostly it was the impression of how it looked. I could see as a clear sign of how much symbolic public spaces like this connect with the collective emotion.
Yes, and so to adding on that, I would like to ask, Hanoi has announced and is preparing to launch major projects to renovate public spaces, particularly around Han Diem Lake and the Tolik River. So what is your opinions with these projects and what should be taken into considerations during their implementation?
Well, I think it's very encouraging that Hanoi is launching two major projects in symbolic public spaces that get a lot of attention. For East Hogum Square, the planning process has been transparent and involved public consultation. So overall, I think people are responding positively. More open space, more trees, more seating, easy access to community activities. And sure, there are still comments about materials and landscaping, but compared to many other projects, I think this is a good example of consultation and consensus building. So even at this stage, I think the city can still apply participatory and co-design approach with residents and tourists, and small pilot tests before a full rollout should work well. And as for the Tolik River parks, if done right, I think it can become a 14-kilometer green and cultural corridors and a highlight for the city's landscape and a walking green space. And it can become an open-air museum, a hub for community tourism activities, and turning a river of memory into a vibrant public space. I think Tolik can become Cheong Yi Cheong, inspired by Seoul's hugely successful restoration project. So now the big challenge is sustainability. How to maintain the water level and ensuring water supply.
Dr. Do Kien, thank you so much for your insights.
Now, the European Union has announced that it will officially launch a new border control system for non-EU citizens starting on the 12th of October. After several delays, the new entry exit system, or EES for short, it will replace the traditional passport stamping process. The system will record travelers' entry and exit dates and collect biometric data, such as facial images and fingerprints, to assist detection of overstayed visas or denied entry. The EU stated that the system will be rolled out in phases that is expected to be fully operational within 6 months. However, authorities have warned that the rollout may increase waiting times at border checkpoints, as each passenger may take several minutes to complete the new procedures.
Also, Belgium has just introduced its first remotely piloted drone, marking a step forward in air defense. The drone will replace the retired RQ-5 Hunter and support Belgium's F-35A jets for surveillance and intelligence. This development will boost Belgium's national security and its NATO commitments. The global race for crewless aerial vehicles is growing, both in civilian and military sectors. Coming up next, Hanoi strengthens flood prevention.
And later on, now we turn to Guangdong province, where local authorities and border guards are stepping up storm preparedness. So Huang Anh, how are measures being carried out on the ground?
Okay, in the Koto, Guangdong province, border guard forces have been deployed at sea to contact and guide boats and fishermen to safe shelters. They are also coordinating with the local authorities to help coastal households and the aquacultural farms reinforce their houses and cages. So far, more than 460 boats have taken shelter safely, while rescue teams and vehicles remain on standby around the clock to respond to any emergencies. Plans have also been rolled out to ensure the safety of both fishermen and tourists. Now, Typhoon Ragasa, the ninth typhoon of the hit of Vietnam, this year is forecast to make landfall in the Gulf of the Tonkin on Thursday morning, September 25th. Although it has weakened to level 14, the typhoon is still likely to bring heavy rain to the northern and north-central provinces, including the capital Hanoi. Flood prevention efforts have been stepped up in recent days. More in the following from our Vietnam Today reporter in Hanoi.
This is Nguyễn Huyen Street in Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám ward, one of the areas often heavily flooded during heavy rain. Workers from the Drainage Enterprise No. 4 are stepping up dredging of underground sewers to ensure rainwater can be discharged as quickly as possible.
Our unit is carrying out extensive dredging, clearing and unblocking of water channels to ensure full readiness when heavy rainfall occurs. The goal is to discharge water as quickly as possible to the main drainage outlets.
During this year's rainy season, drainage efforts have been enhanced, including proactive inspection and dredging of the drainage system, implementation of emergency response plans, and enhanced monitoring of key flood-prone areas to minimize damage caused by heavy rain. In addition to cleaning the drainage system, Hanoi has also planned to enhance the monitoring of the water levels on the Red River. This effort aims to ensure proactive operation of the Insa pumping station by lowering the buffer water levels of the regulating lakes and rivers, and therefore ensuring readiness for drainage during heavy rainfall. The Insa pumping station is the second largest in Hanoi. With a discharge capacity of 90 cubic meters per second, it plays the most crucial role in tackling flooding in the capital, especially during the rainy season.
The Insa pumping station is like the heart of the drainage system, pumping water from the inner city into the Red River. A team of skilled engineers is on duty 24/7 at the station to promptly handle any incidents and ensure equipment is restored to operation as quickly as possible.
We're also coordinating with relevant forces, including traffic police and construction inspectors, to redirect traffic and issue warnings at locations that may experience flooding.
Hanoi Sewerage and Drainage Company has mobilized its entire workforce on full standby until the impacts of Typhoon No. 9 subside. At the same time, the company is continuously updating information on rainfall, typhoon developments, and flooding across the city to provide timely warnings for residents.
Super Typhoon Ragasa have dominated headlines across Asia in recent days. And in the latest, it made landfall in Hong Kong, China on Wednesday morning, bringing torrential rain and powerful winds. Several people were injured and hundreds were evacuated to temporary shelters. This marks the 9th storm of the season, well above the city's yearly average of 6, highlighting how climate change is intensifying storms in both their strength and frequency.
Once considered rare, the rapid intensification of storms is now increasingly common across the Western Pacific. Super Typhoon Ragasa is the latest warning sign of how exposed Asia's coastal cities are to extreme weather.
Because of global warming, you have more moisture in the atmosphere, and water temperature is also high, and therefore, once the storm develops, it has more energy. And so you can expect the storm to become even more intense in the future. So you should expect to have more super typhoons.
Under high emissions, storms could become nearly twice as destructive by the end of the century. They will last longer, reach farther inland, and overwhelm outdated building codes as sea levels rise.
Most of the building codes were designed based on the past data, but the past data would not be accurate anymore for the future. So if you have new buildings And if you stick to the current building codes, then you will be subject to more stronger winds in the future. And so the planning of new buildings will need to be updated in terms of the wind loading. And also, if you are building something along the coastal areas, you also need to think about what the storm surge would cause you problems in the future.
From Manila to Hong Kong and Shenzhen in China, Asia's coastal cities, economic and manufacturing hubs, are facing a climate stress test. As storms grow stronger, so too must our response, both in adaptation and in cutting emissions.
And now let's turn to the world of film, where music is taking on an increasingly important role in connecting with audiences.
Yes, and according to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, while images make up the 85% of a film, sound is also vital 15%. Many songs have transcended the screen to create a life of their own. In recent years, Vietnamese filmmakers have been using film music not only as a backdrop, but as a powerful tool to enhance their storytelling and deepen the connections with their audience.
Nỗi đau giữa hòa bình, Pain Amid Peace, the theme song of the movie Red Rain, has now garnered more than 24 million views on YouTube. Shortly after the film's resounding success, singer Hoa Min-ji released an independent music video for the song. The song guided audiences into the tragic yet heroic atmosphere of the 81-day battle at Quang Tri Citadel.
Whether through music or through film, when a message is conveyed in a thoughtful way, it can truly reach the audience, and in turn, our works will receive the audience support.
The music video portrays a heartbreaking scene where a husband lays down his life at the very moment his child is born. The lyric, "Independence was traded with blood, peace was paid with countless sorrows," has brought many viewers to tears.
Much admiration goes to Hoa Min-ji. Through her performance, the singer powerfully conveyed the deep pain and the immense sacrifices of the Vietnamese people behind the nation's victory.
Watching the music video or the movie Red Rain, audiences are reminded of a powerful message that the sacrifices and losses of past generations made today's peace possible.
In many cases, the film soundtrack itself plays a leading role in shaping emotions and contributing to the work's success. Such was the case with the film Đàn Cá Gỗ, A Wooden Fish. Its theme song Miracle was released first and quickly went viral on social media. Riding on the song's success, the production team brought the film to cinemas, where it earned nearly $170,000 in ticket sales within just 1 week. Thanks to the strong impact of its soundtrack, Wooden Fish became a breakout phenomenon in Vietnam's young cinema scene.
The greatest success of the film came from its soundtrack song, which had already gone viral online. Audiences flocked in large numbers, eager to hear the song.
The breakthrough of film soundtracks has sparked audience curiosity. It is a strong combination when music truly supports the storytelling.
A series of successful soundtrack songs, such as The Boy Who Rode on the Tree from Dreamy Eyes or After the Rejection from Mai, have all left a deep impression on the public. Each has proven its vitality, standing independently as a complete musical work.
And that's everything we have brought on Newsline.
Thanks for watching and see you next time.